As soon as we moved in, we noticed the carpets were full of urine, there was rat droppings everywhere.
We found a broken crack pipe. He was this unhinged, psychotic person. He was trying to hit on my grandmother.
Oh, you did? We discussed this with him before, of course.
He accused us of running a brothel.
Whoa. I thought we had a little bit more of a personal relationship.
Plaintiffs Alex Figueroa and Amanda Ramos say their former landlord went from friendly to frightening and drove them out of their dream home. They're suing for $3,000. Defendant Lawrence Tan claims the plaintiffs agreed to let him move in and says he even paid them rent.
Raise your right hand.
He says he owes
Do
nothing.
you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Naj. How are you?
I'm doing well, Judge.
Good.
This is case number 047 on the docket. Figueroa and Ramos versus Tan.
Thank you, and
You're welcome,
welcome to all of you. I see we have here Alex and Amanda. You are the plaintiffs.
Yes.
You are suing the defendant, Lawrence Tan, for $3,000 for unreturned security deposit, rent credit, and reimbursement for upgrades made to the home. So let's start with you, Alex and Amanda.
So last year, we were looking for a place to rent out. And
Yes.
We came across what we thought was a great opportunity to rent out a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Yes.
My grandmother took care of Lawrence's mother, and this is how we got into contact with Lawrence.
You have a child,
Yes, we have a 1-year-old.
and you're looking for a home, and did you go and see the home before you moved in?
I did. He was still painting, cleaning up some stuff, and we kind of had an agreement that we would help clean up so that we could move in at an earlier time. But unbeknownst to us, that we were going to fall into this unhinged, psychotic person. He lied off the bat. He did not tell us that he was putting the home for sale and that he was going to be living on the property full time.
When you moved in, did you sign a lease?
We did.
Yes.
Yes, I have a copy of the lease here. Is this evidence A?
A.
And the lease was a month-to-month lease.
Yes,
Yes.
correct. We would have the whole house minus a back room that he would need to use to work out of.
So there was one room of the house. Now, did this room have a separate entrance?
Yes.
It was.
Okay.
There was no connection to the house. I couldn't walk in if I wanted to, and he couldn't walk into the house if he wanted to.
Okay, in a sense, it was a separate unit. But the rest of the house was what you were renting.
Correct.
So now you moved in. Now, what's the problem?
When we had first moved in, there was a stove, and he told us that the stove, the top did not work. I mean, the top worked, but the bottom, the actual oven part did not work. So I did some investigation, and it turned out there was an actual rat's nest underneath the stove.
Exhibit L.
And Exhibit L, you can actually see the rat's nest pictured. We had to remove the stove, clean it up. The only thing he helped us with patching up the hole so that no other rats could get in. And then when we were also cleaning up the house, we found a broken crack pipe. One was in one of the boxes that he left, and one was on top of the refrigerator. And then we would have people coming on the property.
Starting fights with them, like arguing, yelling.
They were not my first tenants that rented this property.
As soon as we moved in, we noticed a lot of really bad stuff around the house. The carpets were full of glue and what looked like urine. There was rat droppings everywhere.
Are these the pictures that you have submitted of the place?
Yes,
Yes.
that's the carpet is Exhibit O and X. So that's one of the rooms that our child was going to be sleeping on. We got a hold of a carpet a friend that was doing carpet installation, and he was charging $1,400, but he ended up doing just the 2 rooms because Larry did not want the whole house carpeted. And he got in an argument with the guys. He threw kind of like a fit because we removed part of the patched up carpet he put up.
So you had 2 rooms of the house carpeted.
Yeah, which was $700.
He agreed to pay you for the installation of those 2 carpets, the $700?
Initially, yes, he did agree.
Do we have any written documents as evidence of that?
No, I do not.
Did you agree to reimburse them for the carpet?
No, I did not. When they moved
You
in,
just-
that was new carpeting that was already there. It just wasn't of a quality that they had expected or they would have preferred, for, especially with their child. They wanted better carpeting.
The carpet that he had provided was literally a centimeter thick, and he even told me himself that he had put the wrong glue. So the glue was coming up from, and you can see it in the picture in Exhibit O, that the glue was coming up through, it was eating the carpet essentially, and when you stepped on it, it was sticky. And in the second room, that wasn't installed, it was just laid out. There was nothing putting it down, like I
Okay,
could
I'm
trip
looking
on it.
at that. Yeah, I'm looking at that picture. Larry, they're not making that part up.
You don't want to walk barefoot on that, especially a baby crawling.
And his solution was putting a rug that was, it was dirty, it was stained, it was disgusting. It was a dirty rug that he had covered the glue, and that was his solution and how to fix it.
At the time it was put in, I did not even know Alex or Amanda.
You should have had proper carpet to begin with. If you're deciding to rent out a house to anybody, that it's not suitable, even if it was just a single person who's working out of it. Who wants to step on
There was
sticky
no
carpet?
agreement to reimburse or to replace that carpet between us.
Let's move away from the carpet for a moment. Another part of your complaint is that at some point, Larry moved into a bedroom that was in the part of the house that you rented.
His mother passed away, so he started bringing belongings in.
He told us that he wanted to occupy the room and that we had to, first it was, I just need to rent the room from you and just sleep there. And he said he would pay us X amount of money, which he never did. And then it turned into, well, I need the room, I need some place to stay, I have nowhere to go, this is your only option or you're out. And he threatened us multiple times for us to, that he would evict us.
I discussed this with them before I took the space, of course. I gave them options and I explained to them it would be an inconvenience, and they agreed to it. I did not force
I did
my
not
way
agree.
into
I
it.
said we need to sit down and we need to further talk
And,
about it, and I was ignored.
Larry, I mean, listening to what they're saying, the idea that you would just move into one of their bedrooms in a sense, I understand you needed a place to stay, but you can't move into someone else's apartment without their permission.
Of course not.
So if they didn't say come and stay, then one of the things they're suing for is they want a $300 per month for the months that you were there, reduction in the rent that they were paying because you were staying in one of the bedrooms.
Well, they took that,
That seems to me incredibly reasonable, right?
but they took the deduction without even discussing it.
You
Well-
avoided me. You would not talk to me. I told you multiple times we need to have a discussion. And anytime I would go knock on your door, because you wouldn't answer text messages, you wouldn't answer phone calls, you would say, oh, I'm leaving right now.
Yeah, and the only time you came around was
When
you
it's
needed
my
help.
turn to speak, I will
Well,
delineate these
yeah,
issues.
go ahead.
They took the extra space off of the bill in February of 2019 when they reduced unilaterally $300 off of the rent. And I asked, what is this for? And I was told that was payment for the carpeting, not for reducing the space. And as far as reducing the space, the extra room we're talking about, they had the option to sublease, which they did for 1 month, I believe, to one of their co-workers, who then left. And then the room was only being used, stacked to the ceiling with storage. More importantly, if I've had the floor, more importantly, they failed to tell you the fact that the agreement, the rental agreement, was signed by my mother, not by me.
No, it was. It was signed by you.
It was signed with me as agent for the owner, and the owner at the time was my mother, who later became deceased. She died, I believe, 2 months after
Sorry.
they moved in. What we really needed at that point was probably a new agreement.
On the subject of you living in one of their rooms, once they rented the place, then that is their, they live there.
Yes?
And they are entitled, while they're paying rent, to say they don't want you, the landlord, who they don't really, you're not a relative, you're not like someone they have a personal relationship with, you're the landlord. And they don't want the landlord living in one of the bedrooms that they paid money for. If you're going to be staying there, they're going to pay less rent because, in a sense, they were constructively evicted from at least that bedroom. What they are asking for is that the months that you were there, without their real permission that they want that rent to be $1,500, not $1,800, because that's not what they originally signed on for. Now, another item has to do with a security deposit. If you're going to withhold it, it has to be itemized, delivered to them within 30 days of the leaving. Did you get a write-up of the damages that he was withholding the money for?
Yes, I did a walkthrough with him before I moved out. He didn't mention
Wait,
anything.
he gave you, whoa.
Oh, no.
He gave you,
He gave it to us 21 days after, but when we walked through, he said that everything looked good, that there was nothing, there was no damages, there was nothing that we had to worry about. And then he came back saying that we owed him for blinds, cleaning. He was charging us $200 for a cleaning fee.
so let's clear this up, because this is a technicality, but it's what the law is based on. Within 30 days, he has to give you a written statement of what the damages are that he is withholding from the security deposit. You're saying that in 21 days he did, but he came and verbally told you with the walkthrough that everything was okay?
Yes.
Yeah, the walkthrough.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Is that what you did? Give a statement within 21 days. Do I have a copy of that statement?
You don't.
That's the trouble. When you come to court, and you're a lawyer, you should know that. When
Yeah.
you come to court, you've got to give me some documents.
I complied with
I
the
can't-
law. I complied with the law and I gave them a written.
Okay, but they're saying you did give them, let's say you gave them this itemized statement. How much was the itemized statement
there would,
for?
there would be no return of the security
825.
deposit. And the
And
main reason
The
was
what?
there would be no return of the security deposit because there was no
825.
credit. There was no credit.
$825?
Yes.
What happened with the security deposit?
He spent it in Vegas. As soon as we gave him our security
gave them an
deposit,
itemized
he
security
went to
deposit,
Vegas
Your Honor.
that following weekend.
I didn't.
And
You
instead of
spent
helping
that-
us
That's
clean up the
ridiculous.
house, this man went to Vegas to go spend the security deposit. That's what he
He
did.
told the grandma.
He told my grandmother.
I probably invited grandmother.
Yeah.
You
were trying to
did.
hit
He
on
was
her.
trying to hit on my
Oh, you
grandmother.
did? You invited
friends.
He
the
asked
plaintiff's
me-
grandmother to go to Vegas. Well, he likes your grandmother.
Good guy.
She's gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but he's it's a
I'm-
business.
The court will take note that she's gorgeous. Okay? Naj, write that down.
10-4.
Okay. But whatever he spent it for, it's interesting. But the issue,
I gave them a list.
if he's entitled to the money, it doesn't matter what he spends it on. Okay? Going to Vegas is not illegal.
Yeah. He would send texts at 3 in
He
the
would
morning.
send text messages. He would tape notes on our door. He accused us of running a brothel because
I
for
put up-
Halloween we put red lights with pumpkins outside the front.
He's like, we're trying to run a
And I have that.
prostitution thing.
Let's see the letter here.
It says, FYI, do not illuminate red porch lights. In Asia and Europe, it is a symbol designated the place as a brothel. It is illegal to hold a place out of a house of prostitution. It is only legal in Nevada, in Lyon, and
Okay.
Churchill.
Municipal
Okay,
code. Your
time
Honor.
out.
What?
Okay, time out.
I have a
Okay,
one-year-old.
Larry.
This is
Larry,
this is
number
how
one.
he is.
And his little
okay,
love
Larry.
letters. Like, why are you sharing your little love life with us? Like, giving us.
He was asking my opinion on it like the first week I went in, and he's talking.
That's when I thought you were probably a normal, reasonable woman.
we thought you were normal, reasonable when we walked in.
This is all I knack right here.
Now you have to remember, I did not encounter these people to advertising for tenants. They are the
I'm
grandchildren.
going to remember.
He
Trust
had known
me,
us
I'm
for
never
a
going to
week.
forget.
Who do
Okay,
you
they are
trust
the
after a
grand
week?
they are the
Okay, let me-
grandchildren of the housekeeper of my
wants the
mother.
letters, though?
So I thought we had a little bit more of a personal relationship than a normal business.
The relationship that I had with
So
him
okay.
is
that's why
nothing
I
more
solicited her opinion.
than him
if
being
I'm
my
allowed to
landlord.
finish.
Okay, let me hear the letter. Go ahead.
It says, I apologize for my stupidity for not re-wearing my dirty clothes after showering. It raised the danger a lover might question your insistence that we are just friends.
All right, I admit that is not, it's interesting,
It's
but not
inappropriate.
relevant.
I don't think it was
not relevant, Your
No,
Honor.
it was just inappropriate.
I'm reading the lease here, and the lease says there are window screens on the bottom floor windows. Larry will provide upstairs window screens as soon as possible.
It never happened.
And
He never
were.
finished.
and Then it says the wall furnace on the first floor is not working, but will be replaced by the fall of 2019.
Never
Never
happened.
It was.
The
it was
ground,
replaced.
the ground furnace is inoperable since the end of World War II.
That's true.
But up to World War II, it was working fine.
I suppose so, but we did not own the
what,
property.
you know. But you did provide at least 2 temporary heaters for use
Yes.
by the plaintiffs if they wish.
He
I gave you
provided,
used
Yes,
those
I did.
heaters?
No,
Space heaters.
they
It
were
was a
from
little
like
space heater.
Space
But it
heaters
was
I
from,
did.
like,
They rejected
the
them because they weren't
1980s.
All right, I
cost-
want to. Yeah, now let me hear from the plaintiff.
it
Go
was
ahead.
from like the 1980s, those metal ones that
That the
you can
baby could
like
touch.
if my son crawled up to it, he could easily burn himself. I'm not going to put a hazard.
Okay.
And like turn
I
them on,
understand that you.
and you could smell like.
I
something
understand
burning.
that you didn't want to use it, although it's 40 years after World War II, but still.
So we were really persistent about him fixing the heater, which he didn't do until April.
The overall picture I'm getting with these details from the World War II heater to all that, honestly, Larry, as a landlord, the behavior was totally inappropriate. You know, in your mind and in your heart, when they rented that place, they thought they were getting that 3-bedroom apartment. And they thought it would be in decent condition. On the payment of the carpet, I have to side with the defendant here. The fact is, I don't have any evidence before me that he agreed to reimburse you for the payment of that. I find for the plaintiff in the sum of $2,000.
Thank you.
This was all an act, and he just, he tried to play judge.
I regret that I ever took them on as tenants, and I only did that through the insistence of their grandmother, who was my mother's housekeeper.
Who knocks on their tenant's property at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock, sends text messages at 3 o'clock in the morning?
However, his ruling is his ruling. So I'm happy that we were able to come to some resolution anyway.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. For more Judge Jerry, click here. For more Jerry Springer, click here.